Typing Defund the Police into Google search, this is what first caught my eye. What is the purpose of Defund the Police movement? Clicking on that, it says Defund the Police is a slogan that supports removing funds from police departments and reallocating them to non-policing forms of public safety and community support, such as social services, youth services, housing, education, healthcare, and other community resources. This leaves one question though. Why? If I remember correctly, the Democrats proposed this because of police brutality and racism among officers, especially with George's death. There is also a Wikipedia page here, and I'll show that in a minute. I want to first search up why defund the police. This is the very first thing I see when I typed, why defund the police. Throwing more police on the street to solve a structural problem is one of the reasons why people are protesting in the streets. Defunding police, reallocating, well, I already read that, may be more beneficial for reducing crime and police violence. What's my opinion on this? Well, remembering everything I've learned from Peter Joseph's Zeitgeist films, the reasons for crime are psychological, while authority is the exact opposite of the solution, because authority issues punishment as opposed to questioning criminals to get to their reasons. Knowing and understanding crime leads to identifying the problems which are resulting in these people committing the crimes. Granted, many people are just insane, but they belong in an asylum because they just can't and won't behave. Law enforcement only keeps the world's chaos in a mildly suppressed state. I'll even add that crime needs to happen in order for cops to earn a living. How sick is that shit? So, with that said, do you disagree with anything I've said so far, Michael? If you do, what and why do you? Don't forget either, Michael, that right-wingers often call for defunding government agencies, as they themselves are now calling to defund the police, only because their political idol is under arrest and now in court. His cult believes this is all bullshit and also a political conspiracy to cripple his ability to become 24 president. Even though they've made it more than abundantly clear that the election process cannot be trusted, as they still argue that Joe stole the election, yet still, Trump 2024, they all protest. MAGA demanded that the FBI be defunded because they raided the Mar-a-Lago after Donald took government documents. I've asked many whether Donald took them during or post-presidency. None have ever answered. I wonder why that fucking is. So moving on to the Wikipedia article. Okay, here's Wikipedia. Defund the police. It is a slogan that supports removing funds from police departments and reallocating them to non-policing forms of public safety and yeah, so already read all that. Some seek modest reductions while others argue for full divestment as a step toward abolition of contemporary police services. Activists who support the defunding of police departments often argue that investing in community programs could provide a better crime deterrent for communities. Funds would go toward addressing social issues like poverty, homelessness, and mental disorders. I'll get to that later. I think that's all that really needs to be said about that. The slogan became common during the George Floyd protests starting in May 2020, so I'm partially correct about that. So yeah, I don't see how this is insanity, as you call it, Michael, in your video there, which I have still in my tab right here. Yeah. I won't bother with the background.
Maybe a little bit. I can't remember what I read. Okay, cities collectively spent approximately billions per year on policing, in particular, it's all just fucking details. Okay, so that's nothing.
Yeah, I think this is the one I wanted to read. As of 2017, state and local government spending on policing has remained just under... maybe not. Okay, never mind. rationale. Police defunding and abolition activists argue that the police have a poor track record of resolving cases related to murder, rape, and domestic abuse. Some further argue that police social work intervention leads to mass incarceration, risk of physical and mental harm, exposure to violence, and in some instances death. So yeah, it's just basically their proposed solution to just that, what I just read there. Racism. Critics argue that the history of policing is rooted in racist practices, citing slave patrols, enforcement of Jim Crow laws, which are being a pejorative term for Americans, for African American. Formal and I think we all know what. I don't really, but most people do know what Jim Crow laws are, so I won't even bother. I have an idea. I think it's basically just racism. Laws to enforce racism, whatever. Such as Selma to Montgomery marches, and yeah, so yeah, I guess that's all that really needs to be said about it. This page is very long, so obviously I'm not going to go into that. It would take me 10 hours to do that. Critics argue that police officers and police departments provide too many services. According to this argument, the United States is an over-reliance on law enforcement, which is expected to handle yeah, that could be also. I can agree with that. Well, America really is an out-of-control country, and which is strange because it's supposed to be majorly Christian and some Muslim, but obviously, well, that doesn't really make any sense either, because Christianity says humankind is supposed to be fallen because of sin, but I don't know. But yeah, if you find this to be insanity, Michael, then I don't know what to tell you. I think you're an asshole for saying that. I think you're ignorant for saying that. Well, of course, I don't really expect much of you. You agree with Andrew Tate's perspective that men are supposed to be men, whatever the hell that even fucking means. I intended to write a script about that and upload a video about it, but I don't know. I might still do that. But yeah, for you to say that defund the police notion is insanity is offensive and insulting. Shame on you, buddy. Really. You're shitting on a potential. It didn't come through, but you're still shitting on a potential alternative just because of your own perspective. And you said, I don't know.